Hello everyone, it's Michael from Replica Airguns, and today we're checking out the Umarex Smith Wesson 629 Competitor CO2 Airsoft Revolver styled after the 44 Magnum Smith Wesson. And this is going to be the tabletop video review, so we're not going to be doing any shooting in this video. That'll follow up in a future video where I test out the velocity in feet per second, and I'll also put at least 6 rounds into the target since it is a 6-shooter, and find out what kind of accuracy, what kind of a grouping we can get from 30 feet out on a paper target. Again, that'll happen in a little bit. I haven't even shot it yet, so I can't comment how it performs or this exact gun. I have shot a lot of other guns, airsoft, BB, pellet, in these sort of shell loading revolver styles. Now this is a little different, and I'm gonna get into it a little bit more down the road, what's exactly different, but essentially the shells are a little different. The revolver cylinder is a little different, but they're both shell loading revolvers that use CO2. They're single double action guns, very similar. This one happens to be an ASG Dan Wesson version. Nice looking gun. It's a lot lighter, even though this is a heavy gun, and I've always said that this is a pretty beefy gun compared to this 44 Magnum 629 Competitor that I have for you today. This is over 3 pounds. I believe it's 3.3 pounds, so it's a bit of a beast. Now, if you're interested in buying this gun, I'll put links in the description for you to buy it over in our US store over at replicairguns.us and our Canada store over at replicairguns.ca. Again, links will be in the description for sure. All right, let's get right into the specifications here. It does use a single 12-gram CO2 cartridge that goes in the pistol grip. When I do the walk around, I'll show you kind of how that comes off. It's nice that it has the Allen key built into the pistol grip, and they are grooved for the fingers, which makes it nice. It does shoot in both single and double action. So depending on what you're doing, if you're action shooting, just pull that trigger. It does take a little bit of work. It's not the lightest double action trigger in the world, but it shoots pretty good. You can shoot kind of quickly that way. If you want to do more target, more precise shooting, then pull that hammer back and you can shoot in that nice light single action mode. It's almost an all metal gun, like I was saying, weighing in at 3.3 pounds or 1.55 kilograms. It is a 6-shooter, so it does have that cylinder that pops out using the safety. So basically you just use the safety here and you push it this way and you can open up the basically the cylinder, eject your shells. You'll notice it's pretty big. They're spaced apart a little bit more, and the shells are actually larger than typical shell loading revolvers. So you won't be able to use speed loaders or any other shells from your other shell loading revolvers because these are slightly larger. I wouldn't say they're 44 Magnum large, but they're definitely bigger than like a 38 or 357, which you usually find that type of shell. And I'm going to compare it when I do the walk around, but I'm getting a bit ahead of myself. You have safety here if you push it back. Again, getting a little ahead of myself. We're supposed to be just going over specifications, but I'm covering some of the other details as we go. It is 12 inches long or 210 millimeters total length. The barrel is 6 inches or 152 millimeters, and that inner barrel is metal like the rest of the gun pretty much. It is not rifled because it is an airsoft pistol and it shoots 6mm plastic airsoft BBs. That said, those BBs will fly out of here at around 500 feet per second, so it does have a pretty hefty velocity. That might be a little bit too hot for some indoor airsoft games. And on the top of the barrel, you're going to see that accessory rail. We'll get in there a little closer when I show you around. It's nice and big. You could put a red dot on there, whatever you want. And it does have the grooved pistol grip, which is nice for comfort and hold and grip. You're also going to find a fully adjustable rear sight for windage and elevation. And again, that fully functional safety cylinder release there on the left-hand side here, just like you'd find it on the real steel version. It's nice that this one does come in a cardboard box. It looks pretty good. All the marketing and everything looks good. You do have a manual, and you do get another 6 shells. So there's going to be 6 shells in the pistol and 6 shells in this little baggie here. So you have a total of 12 shells. So here's the box, okay? It's got some information, 500 velocity, 12 grams CO2, 6 shots, 6mm airsoft. And on the back, a lot of the same stuff. Really, it's kind of all the same triggers, double and single action. Barrel is smoothbore. Dangerous area up to 220 yards. Length, again, 12 inches. I don't have a weight on here, but I did mention it in my specifications. So pretty nice. You can kind of see here the pistol grip there. That's how you get the CO2. And they call this a chrome finish, but I wouldn't really call it chrome. I'd call it more of a satin stainless. That's what I'd call it. Quickly take a peek at the manual here. Again, some more information. 500 FPS. So all the same stuff essentially there, just repurposing it. Yeah, so you're going to have your description here for the sights. So it's got basically, what is that? Front sight, muzzle. I'm trying to read it over the camera. It's not always easy. So you got all your parts, what they kind of do here, right? How to get that pistol grip open and basically put the CO2 in, right? Right there you have your safety and how to get to the shells. What is this here? What do we got? I'm not sure, but there's a lot of stuff here for you guys. Then I think it starts getting into other languages and things, but here you got your trigger and your safety and your hammer and all that kind of stuff. Just basic instructions, how to adjust the sights if you want to get that. It's pretty nice. It actually has a nice little description here on how to do it. Not everybody does know how to do it. Okay, good enough. Let's move on here. Spent too much time looking at that thing. No one ever does. I do like that it's fully Smith & Wesson licensed. So when I get into it, I'll show you all that licensing. It's pretty much right in the metal. So it's stamped or whatever you want to call it, engraved right in the metal. It's not just painted on. And this product is distributed by Umarex. It's made in Taiwan. I don't believe Umarex actually makes it. They probably get some other company to do it. Could be Wing Gun. I'm not really sure who's actually making it. It doesn't say on the box or the packaging or in the manual at all. So you'll have to try and figure that out some other way. So I do want to compare it a little bit to this other revolver here. Again, this is the ASG Dan Wesson, and it's styled, well, it's supposed to be a 357, and this one would have the smaller shells. So let's just show you kind of what the shells. Now this is the pellet shell. So this is a little different. This one actually unscrews. You put the pellet in there. It's a little different shell. Some pellet shells, you can put them in the back. There's so many different shells. So this one here, for instance, you put the whatever, the BB or pellet in the back, whatever it happens to be. And with this one, you can see there's not enough space there to put anything in the back. So this one would be for BBs that you'd pop in the front. Some of these work for pellets or BBs. You can have different versions of these. I kind of like it when you put them in the back. It's kind of like extending the barrel slightly. So by the time it gets here, it's going maybe a little faster than if it were here. At least in my science mind, that's what it's sort of I would consider. Now, what I do want to show you though is that these shells do not work in each other's guns because they're actually quite different size. You can see here that the 44 Magnum shell, I wouldn't say it's 44 Magnum in size, but it is thicker and you can't get it into the cylinder. It goes in a little bit, but then it gets stuck. So it does fit. Now, if you were going to try to put these ones in here, I guess you could, but they're going to wiggle around. So I wouldn't recommend doing that. Okay. And you'll also notice that the cylinder on both of these guns are very different sizes, right? So you've got the typical cylinders here, like you're going to find on the Colts and all the other shell loading guns before the 44 Magnum came out, the Competitor. They're going to have a smaller cylinder and those shells are just tighter together. And then this one's more apart, I guess, because it's got larger shells, right? And maybe they wanted the cylinder to look more like a 44 Magnum cylinder, I'm assuming. All right, let's take a look around. Been talking a lot here. Let's get in nice and tight and show this gun right up close because it is a beautiful gun. So you can see here that's right into the metal, right? It's basically whatever when they're stamping this out or when they're pouring the mold or however they make these parts, it's right in the metal, okay? And then you even have some, so you've got that, the open and close, right? So you push that in and then close it. Now that stops it, so that's your safety, that's fire, right? So there's your rear sight, which is adjustable. Okay, see if we can get some lighting on there. So you're adjustable for windage and elevation, right? Elevation and windage. You have the rail here, Picatinny Weaver style rail, front post sight, rear notch, right? Single action, double, single. Single's nice and light and short, obviously. So let's take a look here. There's really no take up at all. It just goes. So pretty light, very short, obviously. And 44 Magnum again engraved in there. You do have the Competitor. It doesn't say 629 on it, or I think that's the name of it. Yeah, it doesn't say 629 on it anywhere that I can tell, but that's the version of Smith & Wesson it would be. You've got your, again, right in the steel, you've got this, the Smith & Wesson trademarks. And even right here, you've got some, that's more etched in there, but still kind of nice. Yeah. Underneath, you have some warning instructions. So yeah, it's pretty good. You got a serial number on here too, right there. Okay. All metal trigger, metal everything really. Yeah, I'm not sure what all this part is, but this is the same as you'd find on the real steel. Maybe there's purpose to this. I'm not sure how that really affects the gun. You do have a red-orange tip. I imagine you could remove it somehow. Wouldn't probably be that terrible to remove. Maybe watch a video on it, how to do that. You do have these textured grips with the finger grooves cut out. Okay, let's just get in. I wanted to show you how this works here. So you basically put your finger in there. You can remove this. You have your CO2 Allen key here. So you won't lose it. It's always going to be with you. You can see it's all metal in there. The whole gun's pretty much metal. To put it back, you just put that in the front there on the top and pop it in and you're good to go. Okay. Nice gun. Really nice. All right, let's go over some of the pros and the cons, and then we'll wrap up this review of the Umarex Smith Wesson 629 Competitor CO2 Airsoft Revolver. All right, some of the pros. It's an almost all-metal build with a very heavy weight to it, over 3.3 pounds to be exact. So it's got a lot of weight for sure. That could be a pro and a con, I guess. Depends on if you're into the large, heavy guns or not. It does have the fully adjustable rear sight, adjustable for windage and elevation. It does come with 12 reloadable shells. Most of these guns come with just 6 typically. Some will come with additional shells. Some will even come with speed loaders. But another point I want to mention is don't use your old speed loader in it, because you see how tightly those are grouped? They're not going to load up. The speed loader will not work with this gun. So if you do have a speed loader, it's not going to work, even if you have one. You are going to find the grooved pistol grips for added comfort and grip. And again, there's that Picatinny rail on top of the barrel for adding a red dot or some sort of optional sight, maybe an optical sight if you're shooting longer ranges with it. It does have the power to shoot long range. I just don't know if it's accurate enough. I don't think it's going to take the place of a sniper rifle or anything like that. And you do again have the option of shooting in single or double action with that nice light single action trigger, or the slightly heavier double action trigger for more action type shooting. I do like the satin stainless finish. I wouldn't call it chrome. They call it chrome on the box. To me, it doesn't look like chrome. It looks more like a satin brush sort of stainless steel to me. And as is with all of these shell loading revolvers, I do like the realism that is involved in loading the shells. Not only do you have to put the ammunition in the shell, but you have to put the shell in the gun. So it's kind of like a dual load. All right, a few cons. It does come with an orange tip, which I'm sure you can remove with a bit of work. Now, I don't see any type of hop-up or mention of it in any of the instructions or anything like that. So I'm assuming it doesn't have hop-up, at least adjustable hop-up. Sometimes airsoft guns will have some sort of a little rubber bar that's just preset that does allow for a bit of hop-up. It gets that BB rolling slightly backwards, which gives it some top spin. Essentially, that's what hop-up is top spin. It keeps the ball sort of floating through the air instead of arcing as much. Another con, I did mention that it has a great weight to it, but again, that can be a con. Being almost 3.5 pounds makes it pretty heavy for a revolver. So if you're a little smaller, maybe you have smaller hands, younger people, smaller people might find it a bit beefy, a bit uncomfortable to shoot. And lastly, that 500 FPS velocity could be a little scary in an airsoft game, especially if you're shooting close indoors. You don't want to blast someone in the skin with a 500 FPS airsoft BB, even if it is a lighter weight BB. So keep that in mind. It would be perfect for shooting pop cans for sure, but I'm not sure about people's skin. All right, that wraps up this review for the Umarex Smith Wesson 629 Competitor CO2 Airsoft Revolver. Again, I will be making a field test shooting video down the road, so stay posted for that video coming up as soon as I can get to it. I got a backlog of field test videos that I've got to get to for sure. If you're interested in buying it, check out the link in the description. If you're interested in other products, air guns, BB guns, airsoft guns, pellet guns, blank guns, and other accessories, then again, check out replicairguns.ca for Canada and replicairguns.us for the US. Thanks again so much for staying and watching this video. If you haven't subscribed, make sure to subscribe before you head out. Also check us out on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. All right, until next time, take care.